Okay, so here we are today. We're looking at basically the addition and subtraction of positive and negative numbers. I think the first thing we need to think about really is just the fact that we can obviously have positive numbers and negative numbers. So we could have something like neg 10 all the way through to 0, all the way through to positive 10. And obviously halfway through we have 5, we have negative 5. And the rest of them 6, 7, 8, 9. That's 10, 4, 3, 2, 1. Negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4. There's our negative 5 mark. Negative 6, negative 7, negative 8, negative 9, and negative 10 at the end there. So when we're actually looking at the different aspects of our positives and negatives, it's really important to realise that we can obviously have a range of different questions. So something along the lines of 2 plus 3, we obviously know that that's going to equal 5. If we had to look at it a little bit differently, we'd actually say positive 2 plus positive 3 to give us our positive 5 mark. If we were to look at it in a little bit different view though, so I'm just going to corner that one off. If we looked at it a little bit differently and actually said, well, let's have positive 2, and now we're going to add negative 3. We actually have to look at identifying the fact that the positive and the negative here is actually going to change. So when we do have a positive and a positive next to each other, that is actually going to give a overall plus. If we have a positive and a negative, which we have over here, it's actually going to give a minus as an overall. Didn't like that. Let's actually just change that color again. I'm just going to go undo, back to my blue. So positive and negative is actually going to give that negative. That's the same as obviously if we have a negative with a positive next to it. That is obviously going to give a negative, and if we had a negative and a negative, that is actually going to give a positive. It's going to change it to a positive. I'm going to go over that one again. So ideally, we have our positive 2 plus or minus 2 minus 3, and our 2, we obviously start 1, 2, and because we are going a minus, we're going to move backwards, so we're going to move left 1, 2, 3 places, and we end up at negative 1. Okay, so if we actually, I'm just going to get rid of these now. There it is. Get rid of this, get rid of this, get rid of this. So we've looked at a positive with a negative. We're now going to look at a double negative, I suppose. So we can look at positive 2. We're now going to minus, let's say, negative 4. What I want you to think about is actually grouping these two. All right, if we had to write it again, positive 2 we don't have to write as positive 2, we just write it as 2. We have our negative and a negative. Now over here, negative and a negative actually makes a plus, so we're going to change that to a 4, and 2 plus 4, we start at 2, plus, obviously means we're going to move right. I'm going to move right 4 places. 1, 2, 3, 4, that's 5, and that is how we end up with that 6 there. So obviously this is absolute key. When we have a positive with a positive next to each other, we are adding. When we have a positive and a negative, or a plus and a minus, or a minus and a plus, we need to make sure we are changing that to a minus here. A minus and a minus means we are going to add. One last thing to realise, regardless if we're adding or subtracting, we do need to make sure that we are actually doing the right thing. So adding, we move right on a number line, on a number line. Conversely, when we subtract, we need to make sure we're moving left on a number line. And that's about it. If you need any more assistance with that, you can certainly come and see me. Otherwise, good luck.